LSU deserves the number one seed over Ohio State. It's obvious, and it's all because of recruiting. Yes, LSU and Ohio State recruit about the same every single year. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about their opponents. Did you know that LSU averaged playing an 18th ranked recruiting class this year? And I'm not talking about just in 2019. I'm talking about over a 4-year stretch. 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. So LSU averaged playing Texas A&M every single week. While on the other end, Ohio State averaged playing about a Maryland. They averaged playing a 37th ranked recruiting class. Now, let's do a quick comparison. LSU over the past 4 years has averaged a 4.5 recruiting class, so a top 5 class. Ohio State, about the same, 5.5. So both LSU and Ohio State over the past 4 years have a top 5 aggregate recruiting class. But LSU every single week averaged playing an 18th ranked recruiting class. You take out the highest and lowest and you adjust that number, 15th ranked recruiting class. Ohio State, 37th. Even if you adjust it, still 37th ranked recruiting class. Now, here's why that matters. Because there's this new metric that the College Football Playoff likes to use called game control, which basically measures how badly do you dominate your team or your opponent that you're playing each and every week. Well, this is why this is extremely flawed. Cincinnati is a ranked team. So whenever you see a top 25 team, Cincinnati's in the College Football Playoff top 25. Okay. Ohio State beat them 42-0. So that's not only a top 25 win, that's also a win in the game control metric. But did you know Cincinnati was the lowest team when it comes to raw talent that Ohio State played this year? Cincinnati, over the past 4 years, averaged a 66th ranked recruiting class. So yes, the Bearcats had a very good season. Yes, they barely lost to Memphis in the AAC championship game or whatever. But they're not that talented. Wisconsin, yes, they're a great story. Yes, they're a great program historically. We know about the Badgers. 37th ranked recruiting class over a 4-year stretch. So when Ohio State lines up to play them, they're more talented. Okay? It's not even close. Even if you run Clemson's numbers, let's go look at Clemson's numbers. Over the past 4 years, Clemson has averaged an 11th ranked recruiting class. So not quite as good as LSU and Ohio State. But their average opponent ranking is 42. Yes, 42. It's not so great to me, or is that great to you? I don't know. It could just be me. So yes, in college football, we hear this all the time. Recruiting is everything. Recruiting is the reason why your team is going to succeed or not succeed. And that's probably true. But we focus so much on each and every team's recruiting class, we don't so much talk about their opponent. That matters in a big way. Yes, Clemson and Ohio State and LSU, based on our eye test, looks like it's going to be an even matchup. In fact, Vegas has Clemson favored over LSU if they're to match up. And guess what? All those things are probably true. But the one thing, and I don't know, I would put it -1 or 2 either way. I really don't know which way it's going to go. But what I would say is that all these super slick metrics such as SP Plus and FPI and strength of record and game control, that's one I hear all the time, game control. Those numbers are going to be a lot higher when you're playing against less talented teams. All right? Dave Bartu of CFB Matrix, I love that guy. He says that recruiting is the biggest reason why teams win. It's not because of coaches, it's a statistical anomaly. He's an analytics guy. Well, if you're playing against better teams each and every week, and I understand this year LSU had to play 10 Power 5 games, Clemson and Ohio State had to play 11. And I believe the SEC should go to a 9-game conference schedule and play more Power 5s. I think all teams should. However, keep this in mind. The SEC's raw talent, whether you look at recruiting rankings or you look at the NFL draft per capita, go to look at Football Scoop study on this. The SEC blows everybody away when it comes to per capita drafts or whatever. It's amazing how much more difficult it is to win in the SEC when it comes to just looking at it opponent by opponent. Now, I want to go even deeper. Ohio State this year, in fact, did not play a team that had an aggregate top 10 recruiting class at all. Michigan was the closest. LSU played 2, both of which were away from home. LSU went on the road and beat a number 2 aggregate recruiter in Alabama. That's the best mark in all of college football. And they also hammered, and I mean hammered, Georgia, who averaged a top 3 recruiting class over a 4-year aggregate. That is redonkulous, okay? Here's another stat for you based on raw talent alone. There's a statistic. I love this guy. His name's Bud Elliott, Banner Society. And if I'm stumbling my words, it's 2 in the morning when I'm recording this. But Bud Elliott does this stat. It's called the blue chip ratio, okay? And whenever you look at blue chip ratio, it's how many 4- and 5-star guys do you have on your team? Well, guess what? If you have an over 50% blue chip ratio, you have a chance to win a national championship. It's been that way every year since, I think, 2002 is what a study shows. LSU this year played 5 blue chip ratio teams. Ohio State played 2. Clemson played 1. LSU won all 5 of those matchups. 3 of those games were away from Tiger Stadium. It's amazing what they did if you just base it on raw talent. Now, obviously, there's all kinds of other effects out there. There's all kind of other numbers that we could sit and talk about. But we're not talking enough about the biggest discrepancy of them all, and that is who LSU has had to play based on the Joes on the field. And when you look at that, and you look at LSU, and that their average opponent averaged an 18 recruiting class, Ohio State's average opponent averaged a 37 recruiting class, and Clemson's average opponent averaged in the mid-40s. This is a no-brainer, people. The team that had the best season based on resume. I don't care how badly you blew a team out. I don't care how bad your game control, Sagarin, whatever. LSU was the best team this year based on resume in all of college football. Thank you guys so much. I want to connect with you on social media at Carter the Power. That's TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, all those things. I am an LSU graduate. No one's going to believe me, but I would be making this case if it was Alabama or Georgia in this position. I'm not an SEC homer. I call it out all the time. I want a 9-conference game schedule so bad. It would be so great for all of college football. But if you're just coming across this video for the first time and you're like, yeah, well, this guy's just an LSU homer. I just ran all these numbers, and I'm ready to go to bed. So I hope you like this video. I hope you share it. And looking forward to the college football playoff. But LSU should be number 1.